Hey, what's going on, team? Jeff Nail here. Hoping everyone is doing well. Um, of course, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. Appreciate you. Figured I'd switch it up today. Maybe have a different vantage point. Um, but similar topic. So I got the idea. It came to me for another truth and fiction episode, if you will, conversation. Um, and I'll use Ironman. I talked about Ironman before, and for the, I guess the thought that many people are not going to jump into a graphic novel or a comic book, I'll talk about the movie origin. So Iron Man, he comes from money. And outside of coming from money, he's highly intelligent. Fictional character, Tony Stark, played by Robert Downey Jr. in the movie. And fun fact, Robert Downey Jr. was in a lot of my favorite childhood movies before he was the man. But anyway, truth and fiction. So Iron Man in the movie, he's a prisoner. He's captive in this terrorist camp, and he's had the idea to make this Iron Man outfit, but hasn't done it to this point. He has a bad heart, so he is trying to free himself, get out of this pickle, if you will, and creates this Iron Man suit. And if you go back and look at the most recent Iron Man appearance, you see how amazing this suit looks. It's appealing. It's attractive to the eye. And if you go back and look at the first iteration of the Iron Man costume or suit in the first Iron Man movie 10 years ago, there is no comparison from the first iteration or even the second or third iteration. There is no comparison to the level at which this suit looks and performs. And so we're looking at truth and fiction, and we're not talking about Iron Man and Tony Stark for this entire conversation. But if we look at the truth in this storytelling, we can kind of put that into perspective for our own lives. So, looking at the things that we want to do, the things that we want to accomplish, a lot of times we have this mindset that everything has to be perfect. I have to act perfect. I have to talk perfect. I have to have the perfect setup, the perfect technology. And many times that is not going to be the case, and that is only going to limit and or halt progress at which we can move. And I would correct that. The speed with respect to momentum at which we move. So I always use Tony Stark conveniently as an example of what it's like to start a business. There was another snippet from I think, yeah, it was the first Avengers movie, where Tony Stark has this suit that conveniently comes out of his, from the pressing of a button. It comes, and I don't know if it was his watch or his glasses, but either way, that's irrelevant to this story. There's a button that he presses where his suit comes, but the suit was not finalized. The suit was not, it was a prototype. So it was not tested to for him to know that the suit would work to specification. But nonetheless, he flies out of a building, his building, and is plummeting to his doom. And he presses the button on his watch, and the suit is on its way. But the suit doesn't come like immediately. It doesn't even come like halfway through the journey. It comes literally right before he's about to crash and smack the earth. So I use that as an example that no matter how much we plan, no matter how much we put together a good agenda, a good map. You have to be ready for the things that were unaccounted for. And the best way to go about that is to put yourself in a position where you are forced to be vulnerable and forced to, I mean, like, not forced, but you're in a position to get more feedback. Because I feel like a lot of the things that we do behind closed doors, we're not necessarily getting feedback on. So you can say, I mean, like, of course, there are some ideas that you have to noodle yourself, with, just some quiet time. But oftentimes, you share an idea, you kind of get some feedback, whether it's good or bad, whether you agree or do not. You get feedback that will help your mission, your journey, your endeavor. And that's feedback that you would not get keeping things close to the chest. So I've said in other videos, there's always missing context. I feel like there isn't necessarily a right or wrong. It's just changing vantage points, so shifting by degrees to see the same thing from a different angle. And going back to Tony Stark's or Iron Man's, initial outfit, I'll use these conversations that I've been doing, these thoughts that I've been doing. When I first started doing these, it was just something to do. I think I did the first video that I published on Facebook the day after my birthday, and I was like, man, that felt kind of good. Like, just getting like some thoughts off the chest, getting the creative juices flowing. I think I had a good day after that, just from a standpoint of working and the efficiency. Excuse me. So I was like, hey, let me do it again. And then I started getting feedback. Like, I got feedback on to mirror my camera, so that if I'm wearing a graphic shirt, you can read the shirt. I got feedback on mannerisms and messages, and I also had some things that I wanted to do. So to kind of equate it from the Tony Stark moment, I had an idea to get a better camera, to get better lighting, to get a green screen behind me so you could see some cool bookshelf or something behind me. But then I was like, man, like, I just want to get my content out. I just want to get like my thoughts out. I just want to share my message. And if I had waited to get all of the things in place from the beginning, first of all, we'd probably still not be having a conversation right now. But secondly, as raw as these videos are, they might be even more raw, not getting the feedback from others, not, rewatching videos and getting feedback from my own self, and just adapting and growing and developing over the course of several months now. So I say all that to encourage folks that there's a fine line between being perfect in life, or being perfect in business, or being a perfect parent, whatever the case may be, and not exposing yourself to get feedback, to get better, to get your message out there. I've shared in a few videos and a few of the messages that I've posted that we all have gifts. We all have these fabulous stories to share with others. And unfortunately, we don't always hear those fabulous stories from others because we don't put ourselves in a position to hear it. And a lot of times it's just difficult to separate ourselves from the traditional methods of information and entertainment. Whereas you could be looking at Jimmy Fallon on YouTube or on the NBC app right now instead of looking at me. So so I think it's just pretty cool. Um, and then aside from that, I mentioned vulnerability. I think um, over time you build up your vulnerability by getting that feedback and being open to that feedback. So it's building the muscle, if you will, in terms of being able to handle criticism, handle observation, handle feedback and criticism, whatever the case, however you want to label it. It builds up that vulnerability so that you don't get to the point of putting out your quote unquote perfect product, and then you get some feedback on it and it's your baby, and you're overly sensitive to the feedback or to the words of wisdom or even despair. So that's my story for today. I hope that, again, everyone is navigating favorably through all that is going on. You are staying healthy, you are staying safe, and you are continuing to get in touch with self during this time that has truly allowed us to slow down. Um, if anybody's reading any great books, I'm a fan of nonfiction. Uh, just just an FYI. But if anybody has any great books, please share. Um, I have created the Friday night book suggestion, which is going on. I'm pretty sure it's like a year and a half now. I've been sharing a book every week. Um, whether I've read it in that week or whether it's just a book that resonates with me that I revisited in that week. I think the idea behind it is more so to encourage more reading than it is to for me to actually read a book. But for the most part, with few exceptions, I have in fact consumed a new book for the majority of those weeks in that year and a half. And I do that to, just put more information in the brain so that I can continue to develop and grow in this infinite game. And recently, I just created a hashtag for these videos as well. So I put them on YouTube as well for folks that aren't on social media. But Facebook is my jam, so we'll keep it like that. So until next time, my friends,